Healthy You, brought to you by UNFPA, delivering a world where every pregnancy is wanted, every childbirth is safe, and every young person's potential is fulfilled. It takes a certain amount of self-respect or liking yourself to control your sexuality and make healthy decisions about having sex. It's something we get better at as we grow and mature. It also takes basic information about sex and pregnancy to prevent pregnancy. Did you know that teenage mothers are more likely to face maternal mortality since their bodies are not mature enough to have children? We separate the facts from the fantasy when we discuss teenage pregnancy right now on Healthy You. The rate of teenage pregnancy in Jamaica is amongst the highest in the Caribbean. Some have learned the hard way that it is really worth the wait when it comes to sex. Are teenagers having sex too early? Why won't they wait? Do they know the consequences? Do they care?
To be honest, it's so many influences. But as a teenager, my friends used to influence me to have boyfriends, which can lead to having sex.
Yeah, media and peer pressure. Oh, and curiosity. Can never let out curiosity.
Sometimes it can be accidents, for example, rapes, not being careful enough while having sexual intercourse.
Sometimes if you don't have that strong mindset, peer pressure can get the best of you, and when they go out and do it, they're the one that end up and get caught.
The peers normally influence them what to do, what to try. If it's not the peers, it's the music that they listen to.
Like Vibes Cartel and those people, they think about the
sex and
yeah.
So
maybe they want to try it and them ears say it nice.
If you really realize, still it's mostly the teenagers them like in the garrison or in the ghetto most often get pregnant. You know what I mean? At a tender age, but the main reason is some of them poverty. You know what I mean?
Sometimes the parents are giving them what they want, so they go out for it. Can't have sex for all of $500, so some of them they can't control it, but it is not good.
It's a nature thing, you see what I say? But the big man them want have sex with the teenager them, you see what I say? Me born for now one day.
Information is much more available to them now than it was a long time ago, so they're more aware of what is happening around them than it would have happened a long time ago.
They might get caught up in the situation, and so they don't really think about the consequences.
They know about the consequences, but they just don't pay attention to it.
Or they say, oh, that's not going to happen to me. Other people, but not me.
Them say schoolboy money done 12:30, so my pocket money that don't hurt it. That's why the local girls are flirty, and ambition is very dirty. So you girl, just cool and simmer. Don't make your eye get red for no bimmer. Do not fussy like China. Work hard for what you want and you must come a winner.
Adolescent pregnancy continues to be a major public health challenge in Jamaica. Approximately 18% of children born in Jamaica are attributed to adolescent girls.
Went to the beach day before yesterday.
Meet Trudy Ann, a teenage mother who will tell us about her triumphs and challenges.
Well, I grew up with my mom, my uncle, my brother. It's a small family. Father wasn't around. It was my mom and 4 kids. She had it really rough, however, she tried. I went to Iris Gelly Primary, passed common entrance for Excelsior High School, but my brother got in some problems and we had to move and things, so I ended up going to Seaforth High School, that's in St. Thomas. Just leaving from a school in the garrison, I was kind of roughneck and thing, and then being in a different environment, which is St. Thomas, them not really on my level in the sense of them kind of more reserved, So when I went there, first year, I got student council representative, and they took it back because I cursed in indecent language at one of the students, not knowing any better because of where I was grown. That's Maxfield. Associating myself with the older girls, I used to want to do everything that they're doing, they're going to look for their boyfriends. I want to go with them, even though I don't have a boyfriend around, but I still want to go. And they even tried to set me up with somebody, but it never worked out, it never happened, and he was much older than me too. Well, I must say I was under a lot of peer pressure. I was 16 years old when I started having sex, which was a big regret because I got pregnant. When I found out I was pregnant, it was terrifying. I didn't know what to tell my mother. I didn't know what to tell my sister. She was supporting me at the time. I didn't know what to do. Took a long walk on the river thinking what to do. And I was totally against the alternative, which was to do an abortion. Me and the father talked about it, and we came to a conclusion and thing. But it was really rough because when my mom found out that I was pregnant, she called the phone and said, "Listen, when you see me, don't like you to see me. Walk on the next side of the road." And that was when I broke down and started crying. My own mother rejecting me. And told my baby father, and he said, "Don't worry about it. I'll talk to her and thing." And that's how she calmed down and said, "Well, it's up already, you know?" Well, getting pregnant in high school is definitely not the way, and was not the way. I got recommended for CXC subjects, couldn't get to do them because I had a kidney failure on my way to the first exam, and that just hindered me from doing them. However, I got treatment, yeah, and thing recover and whatever. Still never get to do the CXC them. After having Tariq and thing, my main focus was just on the child, not going back to school to get a education.
Yeah, I know, right? And what else? Master of Fine what?
8 months after Tariq was born, I went to youth service camp, National Youth Service, where I stayed there for 1 month. I went on a health corps. When you go there, them train you, and after the 1 month, them place you in a health organization. You work there for 6 months, they give you a stipend just to pay bus fare, but there was benefits. So I took advantage of it. Every morning, I have to make sure I wake up, carry him to the daycare center, reach at work on time, leave work, pick him up, come home, make sure say baby father dinner ready, make sure say Tariq, alright, you know, you name it. I am telling all you teenagers, stay away from sex. Yes, stay away from sex, because being a teenage mom is not the way. I am a victim, and it was very rough, very, very rough. Taking care of a man, taking care of a child, working, not easy. It was very hard. Didn't enjoy my 17, 18, 19, 20 years, none at all. It was just all focused on my child and his father and going to work and all of that. Lost all of my friends. It was just me and the little family.
When Healthy You returns, we'll sit with Dr. Karen and discuss what happens to a teenage girl's body when she becomes pregnant. During pregnancy, your body goes through an astounding number of changes. Some may seem normal, while others may be cause for concern. It is important that you see your doctor so that you are well informed and comfortable asking questions. Coming up, what to expect when you're expecting.
There's a long-distance relay that's still on. Many have taken it this far, each leg as important as the next, each challenge faced with determination. Now it's your turn to take the baton. People living with HIV and AIDS and those who are vulnerable need your commitment. It stands in the way of a better quality of life for all of us and our self-respect as a region. It stands in the way of victory in the fight to stop the spread of HIV. Reject stigma and discrimination. Get us to zero.
Children of teenage parents are twice as likely to be abused or neglected as children of parents who delayed childbearing. Pregnancy is a joyful time, but is rarely a comfortable one. Teenage pregnancy comes with complications. In addition to health risks, there are socioeconomic factors that may complicate the pregnancy.
Doc, my question to you, are the signs and symptoms of teenage pregnancy the same as the average person being pregnant?
The signs for a teenager being pregnant are very similar to the average person being pregnant. They will miss periods, they will have changes in their hormone levels. The other symptoms that they can have include nausea, vomiting, especially in the early morning period, but it can also extend throughout the course of the day. They may also have changes in their mood. They become more cranky, more miserable. They may become more moody generally, and other signs that they may have include fatigue. So they're very tired, and this is very unusual for what they normally experience. And another symptom that they will face as well is having issues with their food. They may all of a sudden find that they become completely averse to foods like meats and so on.
Is prenatal care the same for teenage girls?
Prenatal care for a teenager is going to be a little bit different than for a pregnant woman who is in her 20s and 30s, because as a teenager she is at higher risk. You're going to find that she will need to be followed up more closely. She will have more issues with conditions such as high blood pressure. A teenager will be more likely to develop high blood pressure in pregnancy than a woman in her 20s and 30s. And this, of course, can lead to other conditions such as preeclampsia, a condition where you have high blood pressure associated with elevated protein in the urine, which has serious consequences, which can include the baby having poor weight gain. Poor weight gain in and of itself can cause a low birth weight, which is another factor that women who are teenagers and pregnant may suffer from, as well as having a premature birth.
Doc, what do you think about sex during pregnancy?
I don't recommend sex during pregnancy. A teenager who has become pregnant really should not have been pregnant in the first place. But if they are sexually active, they need to be aware that they're putting themselves at risk of getting sexually transmitted infections such as HIV, chlamydia, gonorrhea, which can affect the health of the unborn child. Also, teenage mothers need to remember that there is an emotional, psychological impact that it will have on their lives when they become sexually active during teenagehood, and also what can happen while they are pregnant, which can affect them as they go on in life and how they're able to mature and take their place in society.
Have you seen instances where the socioeconomic factors have influenced teenagers to have sex at an early age?
What you can find is that the environment in which a child grows up can determine the age at which she becomes sexually active. If her mother became pregnant as a teen, she unfortunately is more likely to become pregnant as a teen because of maybe her partner who wants to have sex with her daughter, and she doesn't see anything necessarily wrong with it, or she needs to keep food on her table, so she sends her child or forces her child into that kind of compromising position. And you also have a situation where, you know, they're not working, the older men are working, and they're preying on the younger ones. You even have situations within the home where incest takes place, and whether a father or a stepfather or a cousin or a brother decides to take advantage of a teenager in the home by having sex with her.
Dr. Karen, is postpartum depression likely to occur in teenage girls?
Postpartum depression can take place in a teenager. Postpartum depression is where, after delivering the baby, usually up to 6 weeks after that period, the mother becomes depressed. She loses interest in life, she loses interest in her baby, she loses interest in the persons who are around her. She may become what we call clinically depressed. And the teenage mother is at more risk or at greater risk of having this problem because often she doesn't have the emotional support that she needs going through this period. She doesn't have the support of a partner. It wasn't a pregnancy that was planned. If it is a situation where she was forced or raped, she does not have that connection with the child because she may see the person who took advantage of her when she sees that child. You know, issues such as this arise, and really the absence of support, whether it's because her mother or her father is very disappointed with the fact that she became pregnant and have been scolding her on it, she doesn't have that support. And also you have a biochemical process that takes place where you have certain changes in the brain that predisposes a mother to undergoing depression, more so in a teenage mother who has these other social issues.
What measures do you recommend when they are going through this state of depression?
I highly recommend that they find someone who they can confide in, someone who can be supportive. Hopefully that person will come from the home, being mother, father. That is the ideal situation. If it is a situation where you have a supportive, interesting to say, a supportive partner, somebody who can be there for her, then that should be encouraged to, in the confines of preferably an older teenager, say in the age group of 17 to 19 years. Certainly in the younger teen, we'd hope that she gets the support of her mother, her father, that kind of close family unit, or a very close friend, because this will help to give her advice, will help to let her know she can get through it, will help her to know it's not the end of her life, but her future lies ahead. Yes, there will be challenges, but it is possible to make it through.
So, doctor, what general advice do you have for teenage mothers?
If you're a teenage mother or you know someone who is, remember that at this time there are certain things that are very important. Get your prenatal care. See your doctor, take your vitamins, and get your special blood tests done. Make sure too that you try to find that supportive element that will help to take you through this very important aspect of your life. For those of you who are in school, you're teenagers, remember that at this point in time it's most important to stay in school and to focus on your education. Do the very best that you can to get through that so that your career can be the best that it can be. And sex will come. It will come at a time when you're more emotionally prepared and where you can reap the many benefits that are associated with it in the confines of a proper, settled relationship. So make sure you're getting your schooling done and have a wonderful life.
Raising a child is hard enough, but what society is beginning to realize is that the negative effects of teenage pregnancy in Jamaica are not felt solely by the adolescent mother or child. The economy suffers too when a poor labor force persists because so many young girls are undereducated or because the resources of the country must be funneled into welfare programs for teenage mothers. Coming up, taking care of babies, having babies.
There's a long-distance relay that's still on. Many have taken it this far, each leg as important as the next, each challenge faced with determination. Now it's your turn to take the baton. People living with HIV and AIDS and those who are vulnerable need your commitment. It stands in the way of a better quality of life for all of us and our self-respect as a region. It stands in the way of victory in the fight to stop the spread of HIV. Reject stigma and discrimination. Get us to zero.
Because they don't want to use condom, they feel like it's better without the condom.
Because them carefree and some of them lack of knowledge about it.
I think they're not using birth control simply because they can afford it and they don't think about the consequences after sex.
Sometimes they eat at the moment when them on and eat with the guys them don't remember to do it.
Maybe them not get proper teaching, proper counseling in regards to taking contraceptives.
They need a public education program for the younger ones them.
Because I think they're not mature enough to make that decision, and
you know, they just think that's the best way to go because they're not sure what to do. You understand?
They don't understand the emotions. When they get into a certain emotion, they just act up on it and not thinking about protection.
Based on the environment that they grew up in, they're not getting the proper guidance by their parents or even their peers. And I strongly believe that they should consider using contraceptives.
I don't think that it's a question of if teenagers should use contraceptive because they should abstain from having sex.
There are other health risks for the child due to the uncertain financial situation of the adolescent mother. What happens is she spends long hours trying to find a job, or she will choose to spend extra hours at work to make more money. This often leads to her stopping the breastfeeding process earlier and switching the child to foods. These foods lack essential nutrients found in breast milk. This will lead to poor health in children.
The Women's Center of Jamaica Foundation is mandated to provide continuing education for girls who drop out of school due to pregnancy and place them back into the formal school system after they have had their babies. The program for the girls who are going back to school is not residential. So the girls live at home with their parents and they come to the centers as if they were going to school. They are here 9 to 3, Monday to Thursday. The counseling is geared towards their total development. So we are looking at self-esteem building, we are looking at making choices, we are teaching them again about their own sexual and reproductive health. We are looking at gender roles, we look at time management, we look at conflict mediation, and we also look at relationships.
Coming into the program, some really don't want to come because of the stigma that is attached to teenage pregnancy. But once they come in and we start doing counseling and educating them, working also along with the parents, we see that these girls start to have behavior changes and that we also target persons to come in to work with these girls to do different counseling topics.
After the girl has had her baby, she must come back to us for at least one school term before we place her back into the formal education system. During that school term, it's very crucial. We have to look at her preparation for re-entry to school, how she's going to cope with being a mother and a student. We have to look at her contraceptive because we don't want her to have a second pregnancy. And most of all, we have to ensure that we have the parents who are responsible and is going to give that girl the support now when she goes back to school. What we find over the 34 years of existence of the program is that the school administrations do not readily accept the girls. There are some administrations that will take a girl who is coming from another school, but not their own. It's not just denying the girls their education, it's also outside of the rights of the child to education, to deny a girl entry to continuing education. When people look at teenage pregnant girls, they seem to put them all under this big blanket and said all of them are bad and worthless and it's full of negative things and discrimination. It's not always so. And in a lot of cases, these young girls are not taught by either parents or in school about what is happening to them biologically. What are the consequences as you feel the desire for sex? Parents are not taking their responsibilities seriously. And of course, we are still having some women having too many children that they cannot afford to clothe and feed. And oftentimes these young girls, from the time they reach puberty, it's almost as if the parents felt that they should go out and fend for themselves. And in fending for themselves and finding somebody to pay the bus fare and the lunch money and help them buy the books and the uniforms, they end up with a pregnancy. What the foundation wants to achieve, we want to continue to work with the other agencies like the Ministry of Health, the National Family Planning Board, the Ministry of Education, Guidance and Counseling Unit, to see how we can inform young people with give them the relevant information so that they can make better choices about their sexual and reproductive health, and therefore help to reduce the level of teen pregnancy and teen births. We also want to encourage all the girls who are within the age group who become pregnant to register in the program.
If pregnancy occurs, the teenagers and their families deserve honest and sensitive counseling about the options available to them. Special support systems, including consultation with a psychiatrist when needed, should be available to help them throughout the pregnancy, the birth, and beyond. To my mom and dad, stay healthy as usual. Coming up next time on Healthy You, obesity.
There's time when I look in the mirror and I'm saying, Jesus, who is this? Because I'm really overweight.
Brought to you by UNFPA, delivering a world where every pregnancy is wanted, every childbirth is safe, and every young person's potential is fulfilled.